thank you all for taking the time for being with us this morning. And as I was checking the list of our attendees, I saw that it's really a diverse audience. So, who are all interested in the topic of digitization of payment. So clearly digital payments have absolutely changed the way that money is moved around in the economy. This is involving various players in the ecosystem. So this is the reason why we have created this digital payment series to discuss these issues from these different players and to hear their perspective, and to also explore the new opportunities and the set of challenges that faces them in their implementation, ultimately to benefit their users. So in our previous sessions, we have discussed with players such as SMEs and merchants. We also discussed the last session with telcos, and today is the bank's turns. So this will not be the last one in the series that we are organizing. We are currently planning the next one with payment processors. Think Visa, for example. So please stay tuned for more updates. The team will be sending you emails with more details on the event. So before we start, for those who joined us for the first time, I would like to briefly introduce our organization who is organizing this event. So we are a group of institutional investors dedicated to improving the vibrant private equity and venture capital industry in Myanmar. Our mission is to increase the awareness and to facilitate the growth of the industry in Myanmar and of the financial services industry as a whole, of course. So the association aims to provide the forum for its members to discuss the importance of private equity and venture capital. And that sharing can be and can benefit various industries in the market. So we've got a growing membership base that consists of funds managing over $250 million of capital, as well as service providers that support the investment process in the country. So if you're not a member now, it's perhaps time for you to consider the benefits. Okay, so now I would like to do a little bit of housekeeping before I hand over to a very eager, impatient moderator to start. This webinar is being recorded, so please only participate if you are comfortable with that. The slides and the recording will be available to you after this. This is also a great opportunity to ask any questions you may have, so please fire away. That's it. With this introduction, I'm going to hand over to Yem Yet Min, the founder and CEO of Next Labs, who will be moderating the session. So thank you and enjoy.
Thanks, Mona. Appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Before I begin, I just want to say that if you have any questions throughout this panel, please feel free to just type in the chat box. You don't have to wait until the end of the panel. For every question asked, me and Julia will take a note and I will ask at relevant points. Thank you. So normally, since this is a third panel, normally I would do a recap of the previous panel, but we have quite an exciting journey to go through in the next 1 hour. So I will skip the summary part and really dive into the questions straight away this time. All right, guys, you ready? Good to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, panelists. Let's start with Robert. Yes. The previous panel ended up with the question of whether telco-led wallets and banks are friends, enemies, or as a matter of fact, frenemies. And you've gone through, you've been on the table on both sides, right? You've been with a telco-led wallet as well as now a bank-led wallet. So it would be very interesting to hear your position on whether banks and telcos are friends, enemies, or frenemies. Robert, fire away.
Yes, good morning, everyone, and it's great to be on the panel. So I've been on both sides, telco-led and bank-led, and both have been fascinating work in Myanmar. In my personal view, we have to see the market as friendly competitors. working to build consumer adoption. We're still at the opening stage of financial inclusion and financial mobility in Myanmar. And currently, mobile money is still just as much about money transfers as it is about convenient wallet use cases. So telco-led mobile was introduced with the MFS, the Mobile Financial Services Regulation, which was aimed at addressing market segments that were not being served by banks, despite the earlier mobile banking directive, on which most bank-led wallets are based. But for most users, the difference in services offered by bank-led and telco-led operators is becoming blurred. And for many customers, they're actually competitors in the same space. For example, bank-led wallets now are offering over-the-counter money transfers in villages, and telcos are providing access to lending services through their banking partners. So it's getting quite an overlap. And there are currently about 15 mobile money apps in Myanmar. And so the competition is intense. And key to mobile money programs in Myanmar is the agent and merchant network, providing cash in and cash out locations, because physical cash is still a critical source of funds in Myanmar for mobile money. So telco-led mobile money has done well until now because their strength is in building strong nationwide distribution networks using the same principles that they use for supply and support that builds prepaid airtime distribution. So they have the right mindset to create that much needed agent network in Myanmar. So banks need to access the same networks, leveraging similar distributions such as resale or logistics to build the same strong distribution. So for me, I definitely believe telcos and banks must collaborate as competitive friends, as financial service providers who do not see that ecosystem in this way will suffer in the long run because their customers and their partners will view services as less meaningful. So I think up until now, most mobile money companies have set up their own agent networks, placing static QR codes in stores and investing in closed services to customers. And this comes at a cost. So the reaction to interacting, cooperating in that way might be seen as to reject it really because of that upfront investment. But there are lots of positive signs from Central Bank of Myanmar, CBM, and the GSMA, the regulator for mobile. And consumer demand is seeing us move together in a thing called interoperability. And I think a number of wallets are already providing that, and some of the panel here are doing great work there, where we're seeing wallet-to-wallet and bank-to-wallet interoperability already in Myanmar outside of the government's initiatives, or the main new initiatives. And in countries like Indonesia, in fact, they're moving towards enforcing by law a single QR code with a single set of standardized fees and interoperability to standardize, really. And I think Myanmar's on the same journey. But it can only really happen if the infrastructure is there from the central bank. There's clear direction. Yeah. Because the aim really of interoperability, and that's what I mean when we talk about friends working together in cooperation commercially, is the financial connectivity has to be there. And I think we're moving in that direction. We're getting Myanmar QR code, MMQR, and the CBMNet 2, which creates real-time faster payments, world-leading initiatives really. But there does have to be the commercial incentives, because there are a lot of companies out there that have invested heavily, like Wave and KPZ Pay, in their networks. So there has to be something in it for them. But if we can get through that, if we can get commercial means for interoperability, then I think we can work together in friendly competition. So that wallets need to expand their user base. We need to access each other's services. So for me, definitely friendly competition is the right direction.
Great. You covered quite a lot of points. let's come back to a couple of topics, which is aging and merchant network, interoperability, and then QRCBM net later on in the conversation, because these are very, very important, I believe, in shaping the future of payments and wider financial inclusion in Myanmar. Before we go there, I want to switch gears to William. In the last panel as well, one of the panelists, I wouldn't say who, mentioned that wallets are the future of banking and financial services in Myanmar. From AirPay and AirBank's perspective, how do you view the differences between a wallet and your existing banking channels? Because, for example, Air does have an internet banking channel, mobile banking channels, etc. So, from a bank perspective, how do you manage the portfolio of different channels? And as Robin mentioned, there is definitely an overlap. So, how do you tackle that?
Right. Yeah. Good morning, and it's glad to be on the panel. So I think it's a great question that a lot of people are very excited in terms of the future of wallet, and especially in the last couple of years, there are many more wallets coming into the market. And just like Robert mentioned, it was initially just the telco players providing agents and merchants network for over-the-counter money transfer, but also at the same time, the banks are trying to include in the initiative for financial inclusion. And for AirBank, definitely we're reaching out to the MBank population through AirPay mobile wallet, our agent network, and our merchant network. But also at the same time, we're currently providing millions of customers through our mobile banking and internet banking channels. So the way we see is that wallet is just a mean to an end, because at the end of the day, what we'd like to help in terms of the community and in terms of the financial inclusion in general is in order to provide security, stability, and seamless experiences to our customer. And also at the same time, one of the key areas that the banks could do more prominently is access to finance. So basically, at the end of the day, we're helping the customer through our mobile wallet, bringing them into the banking channel. And also at the same time, we are looking at pockets of opportunity to help them in terms of financing, because currently what's happening in the market is that the poorest have to pay the highest. If you look at the financing food chain as well. So if they are included in the financial ecosystem, either through the mobile wallet, or if they have a higher motive of using the financial system, let's say, for example, not only about transferring money, making payment, they will probably want to deposit their money, or they will probably want to purchase the insurance, and they will probably want to invest some of their saving. So that's where we, as the AR Financial Group, comes in to provide multiple channels, including the internet banking, mobile wallet, and also at the same time, we have sister companies of AR Simple Insurance, AIA for life insurance, and AR Trust for security investment. So that's where we're actually coming in as a financial group in order to provide better financial services, and especially through mobile wallet, is to provide last mile financial services to the MBank population.
Thank you, William. Good point. Go on, good morning. In your perspective, what are the opportunities for growth and increase? What can wallets do to increase the adoption overall across the market? Go. I think you're still on mute. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a Deputy Managing Director for the MPE, and I'm glad to be here today to share with you some of the my thoughts. Yeah. So yeah, Myanmar is. Let me give a background of the population of Myanmar and where we come from, the wallet players. Yeah, why we went into the wallet space. So Myanmar has about a 15 million population, and a huge majority of them are unbanked yet. And so this is where, and they don't prefer the traditional banking channel. So this is evident from the market segment. So what we want to do is that we want to bridge the gap. So this is where we partner with the banks and with AGD Bank, and we bring forward the digital solution, digital innovation in bridging the gap of the unbanked population. So, so the the opportunity for growth is in the unbanked population. So, like I said, some of the statistics mentioned about 70% of the population is unbanked. So we provide the customer centricity features. We provide innovative feature, and we provide a playing field where the customer can have a say in what they want. Customer may not want to do a face-to-face transaction. Maybe they want a convenience of a mobile smartphone. So we have provided them a smartphone use case where they can open up a wallet account with the use of a smartphone and data enabled with a data network. They can access the features of a wallet. So what we're trying to bring is they don't need to go to the bank or to do a face-to-face transaction to provide a convenience. So we are building everything into our app and provide user centricity. And so even traditional banking features like interbank, for example. So we provide a banking solution inside the wallet application so that our customers do not have to go to the bank to perform an interbank transaction. So we have provided the convenience factor to the customer, and so they can do it from the comfort of their homes. Yeah. So this is where we see our growing the market customer base to make sure that the majority of the population in the Myanmar will become a smartphone user. So the population and the COVID has assisted in many ways in that aspect because it has flattened the digital learning curve. Many people are now digital savvy. They would like to use, but the population of Myanmar is already they leapfrog their generation. They are already on a smartphone. Many of them are on a smartphone, and they prefer to use a application to transact to do the daily transaction. So this is where we come in and provided a solution for the customers. Yeah. So we still see a big segment of the population, which is this is where the opportunity lies. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. A follow-up question on that. So basically, your approach is consolidating and aggregating all different financial services into a single app. Is that right? Just to clarify.
Yeah, we're trying to provide a lifestyle solution for our customers. So at the same time, we're trying to increase the use cases for our wallet. So if they want a feature, then we want to deliver it to our customer right into their mobile phones. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mayamin, I got to ask you about Sansan Pay because, that came as a surprise to everybody. And I think it's also probably the first celebrity endorsed, in fact, celebrity named wallet app or any financial service in the world. How did that come about? And recently I also read some news and saw it on different Play stores, app stores about UAB Plus and UAB Pay Plus and UAB Pay. So from that perspective also, how do you differentiate between Sansan Pay and UAB Pay? Please.
Yeah, thank you. So hello everyone. So my name is Yin Ming from UB Banks. Yes, we launched Sansan Pay on the April 4th, so through the Facebook Live. So that day was like we got so much attention from the market because we launched as a wallet. The name is Sansan Pay. So actually, on that talk, also we share about the story. So before we build our UAB Pay platform, so my boss, our CEO Chris, asked me about. So he wanted to create a ecosystem and also the wallet app. But so we are actually looking for the open strategy. So we want to I work together with our potential the partner like fintech and other MSI and the SME. So we want to create the architecture as so we can produce a white label app as well. Okay, let's say like the Sansan Pay. So Sansan and his fund around 9 million fund. So he want to focus for that the use case for his own friend and also of course all these the payment service. So when we met with Sansan, so that time is so we are work from home status, and then so because of the COVID situation he cannot make his birthday show, and so then we came up with okay, so we will propose you as a very interesting product, and then so we show him a demo of the Sansan Pay. So together with the payment service, we are putting some of the music store feature, and also so he also very keen to work with us. And then for his birthday show, so only available on our app. And then we launched that app is so we are very rushed to launch because of the birthday show dates. So that time is giving like only the minimum service for the payments and also like the live streaming service and also the music player. So because of so we are like in the different way to go like the open strategy, so not only for our UEB own branding, also we want to work with our partner, so give them use their own branding, and then we will actually enlarge our the ecosystem. So and also you mentioned there are another app called like UB Pay Plus. That UB Pay Plus is mainly for like our business, for our merchants and the agents for all the UEB the pay and sign pay. So all these payments, cash in cash out services available in our UB Pay Plus. And also very near future, so we will be going to launch another app, and then so you can wait and see on the further announcement on our Facebook page. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. For our international audience, let me explain what and who Sai is. I guess Sai, I guess, is basically the largest, the biggest, the hottest celebrity for the past 2 decades, I would say. He has 9 million followers in a country which has 51 million. So literally, he as a single brand covers 1/5 of Myanmar population. Mayamin, hold on. Actually, you mentioned about the keyword open, right? The follow-on question that I had was, UAB seem to be forming a lot of partnerships with different fintech companies, and you guys seem to be embracing the concept of let me mute. Okay, sorry. You guys seem to be embracing the concept of open banking and open innovation model, right? And it seems like you guys are trying to provide banking platform as a service. Yeah. Wow. I mean, why? And because that seems to be quite different from, a lot of traditional banking players. So why do that? And what are the benefits for you as a bank, as well as for your partners, as well as for the larger consumer and the ecosystem?
Okay, so yes, we are working on the numerous initiatives and strategic partnership. So because we want to transform the banking service by integrating with a specific ecosystem. Actually, we want to drive a better customer experience and efficiency. So if for us, like we have our own expertise, so we work together and actually we can get more digital use case and also the better customer service and the experience. So actually the open banking side, so it is the banks allow access and control all the customer personal and financial data. So actually to retrieve the transaction data and also allow access for making the payment as well through the API. So this the open API and the open banking strategy is actually really interesting topic, and then it has a potential to reshape the competitive landscape and the customer experience for our banking ecosystem. So we believe that they can be making like more customer engagement, and also we can also be a new the service offering and also our new digital revenue channel, because so traditionally like the banks providing service using their own platform. So now like with the open the API and open banking strategy is that so the bank can have multiple more channels through the partner network, through the other third-party service provider. So the customer get more use cases for the payment service, and also like it is like a new customer experience as well. Now it's like we are having experience with calling a cab, buying online and ordering food. So all these the open API is like make the customer more convenient, and then so we also have a more revenue on the digital channel. Yes.
Got it. So basically to innovate faster and to create more use cases for both customers and merchants. Yeah. Awesome. Tony, recently MCB and Capital Diamond Star Group launched your respective mobile banking app, as well as the Citizen Pay wallet. So will both of these apps be competing for the same consumer base within the group? Because in my understanding, Capital Diamond Star potentially most probably have a very, very large consumer base coverage through its FMCG products, through G&G convenience stores, etc. So will your apps be competing for the same consumer base?
Well, actually, both apps are actually targeting different consumer segments for now. All right, because the bank, in fact, both are growing at the same time in terms of consumer base. All right, the bank itself is growing with a lot of retail products coming up, as well as the group side is coming out with a lot of products expanding on the network. So, but at the later stage, actually, will complement each other, especially when in the consumer base actually matured into a sizable bankable customer. Unbankable will still be serviced by the wallet, right? And then the bankable one will migrate to the bank as well. So this is how we leverage on each other's strength to provide services to the whole consumer base, all right? And as mentioned by some of the panelists before this, of course, it's still mobile payment is still very infant stage in Myanmar at the moment. All right, penetration is still quite low. So there's a big consumer base there outside, which is sizable. We are also focusing on supporting the government CRP initiative, all right, to digitize payment and transaction, driving towards cashless society, less cash handling, which more hygiene and convenient way of payment during COVID times, of course, all right. And that's why we are also improving our apps for more P2P, P2B, or the B2P payments and all.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah. Got it. Thank you. I want to go back to Robert actually, because it seems that we can't talk about payments and wallets without talking about interoperability, right? And in the last two panels, that was the main topic that we discussed over and over and over again. Actually, I was thinking of a different question, but one of the participants asked a really good question, and touching upon your point as well. So her question was, you touched on interoperability, but if you think about all the players, for players who have already heavily invested in the infrastructure, right, the agent networks, the merchants, etc., isn't their incentive for interoperability quite low? Because why share when you can have it all, right? Mm-hmm. So what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, of course. And of course, the regulation says that no agent can be exclusive. So it is an open environment out there. But yes, as you can see from advertising and agent numbers, that some organizations have invested heavily. So yeah, interoperability. I mean, I guess it's a bit like card payments in the infancy there as well. You wouldn't dream of having a card payment network that was just for your own bank, really, that had no interoperability for ATMs, for example. And, there's financial incentives there for organizations, acquiring fees, sharing of those MDR, merchant discount rates. So there are commercial ways that this can settle down into a more mature market. Yes, it's like the early days of the mobile operators here. They're all fighting for market presence, and you couldn't go anywhere without seeing an advert. But I think things will settle down. Market segments will reach out to different groups, and we'll all want to interoperate. So yes, I mean, right now, I guess a lot of companies have been building empires. But as I said in my piece, we're still in the infancy. Still, it's early days. We haven't reached total interoperability or total inclusion yet, but I think we'll see the market calm down a bit, and just like in Indonesia, we can set down some commercial frameworks that allow people to be commercially rewarded for their part in that ecosystem.
Understood. Thank you. Actually, a follow-on question too. This is open to all the panelists. So if one day, I mean, when in the first panel, the Deputy Director General from the Central Bank of Myanmar was one of the panelists, and she focused heavily on pushing the standard MMQR for all wallet players, etc., so that there is a level of interoperability. If there is interoperability, if there's a level playing field for every player, right? How would you innovate and differentiate between different competitors? Would it be through different offering rates, different financial services, etc. And yes, like I said, this is open to all the panelists. Please, whoever that wants to go first. Any volunteers?
Well, maybe if I were to start, right? I guess the interoperability going to benefit all the stakeholders and ultimately to the consumers who do not really have to store the amount of money at different wallets to make different kind of payments. So that's definitely going to benefit to the end customer. But from the industrial players, from the service provider point of view, I think that will also create two scenarios. One is to collaborate in terms of educating to the market, because currently I think the financial literacy, the digital literacy, it's an area that we really have to work on, because I think maybe all the industrial players might be facing is a lot of issues in terms of the lack of digital literacy. Let's say, for example, sharing the OTP code and losing the money to the fraudulent activities and stuff like that, right? So I think if there's a interoperability, if there's a standardization, and there will be a collaborative efforts in terms of reaching out to the customer, educating them in terms of bringing all of those into the financial ecosystem. So there will probably going to be one benefit out of it. But from the innovation point of view, I think that's where we could actually play the ecosystem approach in terms of providing use cases, and also at the same time, we can really look at what are the areas, the customer journeys that need to be fulfilled, what could be the different services that they will require in their daily life. So I think it will be more about customer-centric if there's an interoperability to innovate, instead of just pushing our product, pushing our features, pushing our services. Then we would really have a chance to look at the customer life to innovate when there's interoperability.
Yeah, I do agree with William. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, so being interoperable, so we will have to worry less, remove one thing from the equation about interoperability, and then focus on the key features where we can deliver value propositions to our customer in a timely manner. Yeah, because the key challenge is not only in the unbanked population, is also on the digitizing the current manual processes. So that is where the business aspect, we have to digitize many of the manual processes. So we can differentiate on the digitization speed, on the other key features we can value proposition to our customer base. Yeah.
Yes. My point of view is like for the standardization, like in terms of specification process, like the MMQR, like yes. So for the long run, to get the measure and the stable system, so we should go with that standardization. But I think for in terms of transaction fee, all these things, I think that is not exactly have to be the same. So now is like, so in the market is like there are a lot of wallet already. So customer also they install like more than 2-3 wallet, but it is fine. But only thing is that there are like 2 different wallet, but they cannot transfer each other. So one wallet they have to deposit maybe from this fan or maybe the other place. Another wallet have to do in other ways. So that one is actually not convenient for all the customer. So I think this interoperability is required. Then is like customer will get like the more usage. We will get I think more usage for all these customer network. And second thing is like for this innovation. So like also we can also mention about customer centric. So we also want to go with like terms of the specific the ecosystem. So there are different segments. So different customer segments. So different requires and different use cases we can define. Then it's like we can create like more the enlarge and then the wider service ecosystem. So using this interoperability and like kinds of the collaboration with the partners. Yeah.
Thank you. Tony and Robert, any further thoughts? If not, I do have a question for one of you. But please do share your thoughts first.
Well, I just want to say yes, we did launch Citizens a wallet recently. The aim is for it to be a lifestyle and digital payment enabler serving Myanmar consumers. And we're focusing on financial benefits and rewards, which I think is going to be important. Nationwide service coverage, which is critical, really. It's not just urban areas, but also convenience for customers and the partners that we're working with. So I think those are the three areas that we're really focusing on a lot, in, to enable as a digital payment enabler, really.
Yes, Tony, please.
Actually, interoperability is definitely important for all in a market where there are so many players with multiple wallets, as well as it's quite confusing to some of them where they go to a merchant and whether which app or which solution to bring out first to pay, right? So, but that being said, the settlement engine must also be very, very fine-tuned, okay, so that everyone will get paid and deducted accordingly. If not, the consumer experience will be very bad, and then they'll be less confident using the platform.
Thank you, Tony. Sorry, I have a blackout, but I'll switch off the video for the time being. Hopefully the blackout will be okay soon. Yes, so touching upon that point, actually talking about merchants, in our first panel, we did a panel with merchants, and one of the key points that was raised during the panel was the fact that actually for a merchant, it's actually more expensive and more troublesome to adopt a mobile wallet or any sort of digital payments. Right, number one, because they don't work well with each other, like what Tony said, that's stuff, but hopefully that will change soon. But number two, also, a lot of industry players are pushing towards, wider consumer adoption, but it seems that the merchants are not having all of the support that they need. So for example, not all players are providing merchant dashboards where they can check transactions. So by actually accepting digital payments, they ended up doing a lot more manual work, right? So for all panelists, what is your opinion on actually also improving the merchant experience? And do you think there's a correlation between having a great merchant experience, which will drive adoption of digital payments for merchants, which will in turn drive the adoption from the consumers?
Yeah, it's Robert here. We're focusing heavily on merchants. I think that's kind of no surprise, really. But convenience for the merchant is critical. Often they have a choice when they accept a payment, and they might steer a consumer to a different wallet if it's easier for them. So, you'll see in the Citizens app launched recently that we're putting in dashboard features, and there are some great new features coming in there, which are really going to make it convenient for merchants as well, because that's the critical part, really. But you're right, having a network that allows merchants to cash in and cash out is critical, and supporting that network strongly, I think, is a real aim, because we can't assume merchants are banked. Most of them are micro SMEs. They're SMEs that think like consumers. So we have to support them in the same way we do with our normal consumer, through a strong agent network.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, merchant experience is as important as consumer experience, all right? Because we do need both hands to clap. So you can't have a customer wanted to pay and a merchant is not accepting it. Of course, we must educate the merchant on all the benefits of accepting mobile payments or QR payments. All right, the ease of not having enough of small notes, cash handling at the end of the day, counting and so on. So all and of course of that, the security of it. All right, not cash being lost at the till or at the counter or being robbed and so on. So a lot of benefit that the merchant can get that we have instilled into the mindset, and as that, you will actually cut down their cost of managing the cash flow for them.
Yep, it's true. We also have to think about the merchants, where we have to help them conveniently accept the payments from our customers. This is where OnePay is also, we have one of the pillars of focus, where we enable merchants to have the receive payments from the customers. And we're trying to grow the merchants in the shortest time possible. And that is where merchants play a very key role in the payment system also, because not only do we have a customer who wants to pay, but there must also be a point where the payments are accepted. So just where we see that the MMQR will be able to assist with the one standard for all the QRs, so that the merchants do not have to keep multiple QRs and get confused in the process, and also to remove the overheads in the process for the merchants. And then, and at the same time, the wallet player like OnePay, we can focus on the key differentiator for the merchants, where the merchants will be having a convenience, having a live transaction access and see what is happening, and then adding more value to the merchants, not only to the customer.
Thank you, Kwon. I mean, actually, that reminds me, I as a consumer myself, so for me, I've been trying to be cashless for the last 1.5 to 2 years, which is not an easy journey in Myanmar. But it would also be very, very frustrating and funny if I start seeing 10 different QR codes sticked on a reception counter of a restaurant, right? So I am looking definitely forward to having that. Yes, Benjamin and William, I want to ask you, both of you, a different question, and it's around transaction fees or fees in general, right? As far as I understand, there's not a standardized transaction fee for merchants and for consumers, right? And in the last panel, there has been some discussion around standardizing not just transaction fees, but also increasing the account limits. And the hypothesis was that if we standardize transaction fees, which means if consumers and merchants know exactly what they're going to have to pay, and secondly, if they can transfer more than, let's say, 10 lakhs a day, or if they can hold more than 10 lakhs in their account, that would, the hypothesis is that would increase the adoption. Do you agree, disagree, and what are your thoughts?
Hello.
Mayumi, do you want to start? Yes.
Yes. So I think for the limit, right now, like, because for the wallet perspective, it's like there are like low KYC and KYC, full KYC. So now it's like up to 10 lakh for transaction. But I think, so if we increase the limit, so can be increased use case as well. But I think in this limit also, we can have no use cases. Actually, they can the offering to the consumer. So I think it's not it's one of the point that we have to address, but it's not a main issue that I think not the limit is delaying for these adopting the payments.
Got it. William, do you want to touch more on the standardization of transaction fees?
Right. Before I dive into it, maybe we could take a step back and look at it at the holistic view in terms of the acquiring. Because if we talk about payment, it's not only going to be mobile wallet, it could be cards, and eventually in the near future, it's going to be virtual card making payment. So the way that I see, and also the way that we are trying to provide the service, is not only for the wallet merchant, not only for the card merchant, but also as a merchant holistic experience. And if we talk about the fees, right? So I think it's more about the value-added services that we can provide. So at the end of the day, when the merchant receives the money to their accounts, the next question is going to be how they're going to spend it, right? So are they going to put it in the saving account? Are they going to withdraw from the ATM, or are they going to transfer to the companies that they order goods and services? So that's where we could actually improve their customer experience, and also at the same time trying to change the perception that they're paying something extra for accepting with cards or with mobile wallets, because currently we have also deploying thousands of POS devices to thousands of merchants, and we are seeing gradual growth of the transactions in terms of the volumes and also the transaction numbers. So I think if we talk about the fees, right, so we have to look at it from the whole merchant acceptance, not only for the mobile wallet, but also for the card and the whole acquiring business in general, because eventually in the next couple of years, there's going to be virtual card that will be embedded as part of the mobile wallet. So I don't think there will be a big differentiation between the card and the mobile wallet payment in the near future. So I think in terms of the fees as well, we just have to look at it in terms of their experience, their daily lifestyles, and what are their use cases, and eventually provide the value-added services for them instead of just looking at the fees.
Okay, great. Since we're almost running out of time, I want to end this panel with a question around financial and digital literacy. Because to me, after these three panels, I started noticing some pattern, and is that in order to really increase adoption and make it have a wider acceptance, etc., there are three things, in my opinion, that are important. Number one is what we talked about, interoperability. Number two, I believe it's infrastructure, which is your agent network, merchant network, acceptance network, etc. And number three is really literacy. What are some of the initiatives that can be done through maybe public-private partnerships or through collaboration between different industry players? What are some of the consolidated initiatives that we can do as an industry? Robert, would you like to go ahead first?
Yes, mobile is a great platform for financial literacy. Of course, the convenience and the interaction that you can have. So it's the perfect channel, really. If you talk about mobile banking, mobile literacy, and financial literacy, then I think they're all in one, really, especially in Myanmar. I think there's been a lot of great work done, and there is more to do. I guess it's all about how consumers draw these services and how they want to be served. But for me, I'd agree. It's partnerships, really, and that's where banks and telcos working together can really help there to have a common message, about trust, about convenience, and about distribution. But also what the good parts and the bad parts of financial services are, so that they make the right choices. So I think again it's about partnerships, not just the government, but groups like the banks working together with a common aim.
Mm-hmm. Myanmar, do you want to go next?
Yes, I think so. In terms of the merchants and the adoption, so for our perspective is like maybe there will be like different use cases that we have to create, because let's say we have like the customer penetration, mobile penetration, compared to that is like the wallet penetration is still very low, because what we found out is like this the digital literacy, because especially for the rural area, so they use normally for like times of the transfer, the remittance, but other than that, they actually do not know where they can use and other use cases. So I think for those the digital literacy, then we have to focus on that one for the coming future. So from our side also, so we are planning to do for this using the social media and other networks, so to educate for them, so more the use cases for the digital platform.
Thank you.
William, can I add something to it?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So definitely we can do something with the PPP, public-private partnerships. We can deliver messages on the social media to to increase their financial and digital literacy. That's where OnePay has been doing a lot recently. We want to educate the customer how to use digital features, what is available inside the app, how do we navigate the app, how do we use it, how do we enhance our life. This is a message that we have been always delivering, focus on delivering to our customers on the digital and billboards and every channel available. And we are happy to receive it. We are happy to know that it's being received positively in the market, as well as the participation of the government bodies, because the government also recently realized that they need digitization processes to smoothen the many of the old processes. So we can see that a lot of initiative by the government to go digital. So it's where we will be focusing with our partner with the government to make it more digital channel available to our wallet customers. Yeah, for example, tax payments, EPC, electricity payments, utility payments. Yeah, as many as there is a digitization available from the government. Yeah, so we will work with the government and make it happen. Yeah.
Right. I think just to add on a little bit to Guangzia, or Guangzia mentioned as well, that I think COVID really has changed to push the digital transformation, especially in the public sector. And currently, a lot of wallet players started providing electricity bill payment, the IRD tax payments, and all these. So I think that's where we could actually contribute back to the society. Not only providing customer experiences through digitally, but also to help the public sector in terms of providing digital channels for them to make the payment. And I think one good example that I could highlight is it's the agreement that we signed with Ministry of Social Welfare. So I think that is a good example of how the wallet players could actually collaborate to provide financial literacy and financial inclusion to the market as well. So we partner with KBC Pay to submit the proposal for the disbursement of MCCD project. It's a maternal childcare cash transfer program that's gonna reach out to hundreds of thousands of beneficiaries in ER division and in Shan State. So that's where in the future the wallet player could actually come in together to help the public sector in terms of dispersing the donation and the government funding to the beneficiary, and also at the same time onboarding them into the financial ecosystem and also educating them with financial literacy and digital literacy.
Got it. Thank you. I think that's all from my side. I'll just go through some of the questions that I think are really, really interesting. Maybe starting from Tony. When do you think Myanmar will go maybe 100% cashless?
Well, I don't think there's any country who have ever gone 100%. Even China itself, so successful.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think there'll be a stage where it won't go cashless at all, right? So, but Myanmar really need a big push, okay, where everybody, being consumer, merchant, regulators, players, enablers, all come together and give it a really big push. So maybe that can be done with certain organizations coming up with a carnival in every province or every big cities, all right, where they bring together all the mobile players, all the merchants, and invite all the consumer in that area there to give awareness about what is QR about, what is a digital payment, and how it benefits them. So you have this mini carnival at all the big cities, all right, and then you spread all across over the country, so that we can speed up the financial literacy part of what is digital payments all about, right? So back to your question, it really need a big push to move forward, because now everybody is planning on their own targets and their own plans, all right? And it's not a single concerted push to the whole country to push for digital payment. So, and for a merchant, for example, they got so many QR codes there. Which one is he going to accept? And the merchant himself will have problem settling so many wallet accounts to his own balance. He have to reconcile 3 or 4 wallet accounts to settle for the day. So that is not a good experience for merchant itself. For consumer, I have to top up to so many wallets to use and so on. So interoperability is also important, all right? And we have to address this, and then we can really see a quick move towards digitization.
Thank you. Another question that I think is interesting is around the identification and creditworthiness. So in Myanmar, the wallets are usually tied to a mobile ID, right? A mobile number, where you could easily, I mean, there has been a big push from the government, from PDD around, making sure that the SIM cards are registered, etc. But still, you could basically get about 4 times 2, you could get about 8 SIM cards for each individual, right? Has that caused problems? And if not, do you see that causing problems in terms of determining creditworthiness, in terms of really identifying who someone really is? If you could share your thought, maybe Robert, and then maybe Myanmar, William, and Kuang Diemyo, because it's an interesting topic, because we're all basing all of this on mobile ID.
Yeah, because when I first started working in Myanmar in 2013, talking to companies like Telenor, they were very clear that they expected people to be KYC'd when they had an active SIM. But of course, that was relaxed in order to get penetration. And there's some tidy up to do, of course, and also SIM cards are recycled roughly every 3 months if they're out of use. So it's a big problem. It's a big problem if you've used a mobile SIM card as your only form of identification, because you may end up risking anti-money laundering intent. So there's tidying up to do, KYC, as mentioned earlier, accurate national ID capture. So I think really we've all just got to focus on it, and the government needs to play its part with the digital ID program, and so that we can actually look up this properly and have a coordinated anti-money laundering approach.
The rest of the panelists, do you have anything to add on that mobile ID? Have you seen any challenges in your own product offerings?
You want Myanmar? Do you want to go first, or should I?
So for this, the digital identification also, yes, of course, we also need like the national ID, and then that one is also going. So yeah, so this credit worthiness is that we still like somehow we need in the progress of improving, we also need. So yeah, so right now it's like, so we only have it like the digital KYC process, but for the digital payments, digital lending and micro lending is like we still need to work for that, the auto processing. Yeah.
Yeah, so on the aspect of the KYC and creditworthiness and tracking KYC of the customer, OnePay has really done it in an innovative fashion. What we have done is we allow a mobile number to be able to open up a bank account. So not bank account, but a wallet account. But for example, if you want to increase your transaction count, or if you want to increase your transaction limits, that's where you have to verify yourself as who you are. And we want a customer to fill out the information and get them verified, and that's when they will have the more features, more transaction on the wallet. So we are not only using the mobile number as a security feature, KYC information, but that is just to have a step in the wallet. So after that, if you want to have a continuous activity, more limits, increased limits, more features, that's where you have to verify yourself and to become part of wallet. Yeah.
Right. For AirPay, it's pretty similar. So in order to provide faster experience, if you're not a user, you can just download and you can register it straight away with your mobile phone number. But if you like to link with your Air bank account, or if you want to enjoy more features and higher limits, then you will have to submit your KYC status, your NRC, your date of birth, and all these information that will be verified at the back end to provide the approval. And that's where you can start enjoying higher limits, and also at the same time to link with the bank account if you have any bank account. And I think more interestingly about the credit worthiness is that it's a untouched area that we're going for, and also based on our experiences of issuing credit cards, because currently we have issued over 100,000 credit cards in the market, and there were a lot of assumptions that we made when we were providing credit limits to different customer segments. But along the way, some of the assumptions proved to be right, but some of them proved to be wrong. So I think we will probably have to start somewhere and start providing credits, and start to see how the pattern's going to behave, and eventually shape the credit worthiness, especially in a market that we do not have a central credit bureau for consumer yet.
Yep. Thank you. And Robert and Tony, I think this is going to be the last question. Let's talk a little bit about customer data security and privacy. Because if we talk about online payments, digitization, all of that, I think security and privacy are often the most important aspects. Right? Where do you see that trend going? And in particular, what are the initiatives that you've seen that some of the players are doing to protect the customer's data?
Yeah, customer data, the data security, of course, is very important. All right. Of course, we ourselves don't want our data to be flowing freely in the market and everywhere. And I think in the industry now, most banks are starting to improving on the security part, where they're putting in more firewalls, more security system into their solution. All right. Visa being instance, they are very, very particular, very, very serious about data security. All right. If you want to issue a Visa card, you've got to be compliant to certain security standard before you can issue Visa cards, right? And so on. So of course, technology-wise, there's still improvement, room for improvement to do that. So data security is definitely the way to go, and there's more sophisticated solution needed for the industry.
Yeah, and of course, on the back end of the platform, behavior analytics or fraud analytics should be part of any wallet platform, really, to identify suspicious behavior. And I think an open approach to auditing, with external bodies, taking a PCI, payment card industry approach as well is a great way of doing it, and working with vulnerability assessment companies. Perhaps we might look at as an industry similar certification, because right now consumers without financial literacy may be seen as vulnerable, and it's our duty under the licenses really to protect them.
Got it. Thank you. I think we are running out of time. Is there any other points that we didn't cover during the panel? Is there anything that the panelists would like to add as probably a closing remark?
Maybe if I were to add on a little bit more about public-private partnership, I think that's really important, and we've been reaching out to different ministries and different organizations in terms of helping them to provide a more cashless way of payment. So I think that's where we could provide better benefits to the customers in terms of the financial literacy and digital literacy, not only going one institution after another, but also with the joint effort of the private sector and the public sector. Let's say, for example, with multiple NGOs that are now looking for a different approach to reach out to the unbanked population. I think that's where we could actually come in to help benefit the whole financial ecosystem, not only on the stakeholder and the institution side of it, but also on the end consumer to understand more about how they should use a banking system, a mobile wallet, and etc.
Great. And any other panelists that want to add something? Last chance.
Yeah, yeah, on the privacy issue, yeah, we have OnePay has a privacy policy, and we also have an internal compliance team that checks the OnePay only partner with people who are also having similar privacy policy, and we do our due diligence. We work with, and we have several layers of security where we make sure that the customer private data is not information is not given out easily or to be hacked into the system. So we have multiple layers of security. On top of that, we also have vulnerability assessment and a lot of pen tests being done, multiple rounds at every release to make sure that the information is private and it's very secure.
Awesome. I think we're really out of time. Thank you everybody for joining, and thank you especially to all the panelists for your time today and your generosity. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you everybody, and my fellow
Thank you all.
panelists.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice
thank you.
meeting you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.